Okay, at this time, this is the public session, and I'll just read the standard. The Village of Cleves Council recognizes the important person involvement in the legislative process. Residents must register with the village clerk and state their first and last name, address, and the topic they wish to discuss. We ask that questions and comments be directed respectfully to the mayor. The time limit for resident is 3 minutes. Are there any residents who want to speak to the council? No one coming forward? We will move on to new business.
You were gonna have a discussion about reinstatement of some other.
That's going to be coming later. Did you want to make a statement on it?
Even better.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we have a couple of donations, and the first one is a check from the Three Rivers Women's Club to purchase the Christmas tree in the Cleves Commons. I believe that was $400 or $500. Do you remember?
Something like that.
I think it's $500. So I'd like to have a motion to accept
Oh,
that.
the check was 500, yeah.
Sorry?
It was 500.
Yeah. So moved. Motion by Mr. Babel. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Meister. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Do we have to accept these donations?
We should be.
We've never ever done that in the past, that's why I was wondering.
We have done it in the past this year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, for the last 20 years we haven't, so I'm just
We
curious,
should.
is that a higher revised code or?
You wanna.
I'm just curious because, I mean, it's not, we've never written up in an audit about
I don't think you have written up regardless, but there should be a record. There should be a
it.
record.
Yeah, the clerk always kept track
I
of
understand.
that. That's fine,
Yeah,
okay.
the public.
I was just curious.
Where are we? Do we call the roll yet or not?
No.
Call the roll.
Ms. Bolton,
Yay.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Meister,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Walters.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. We also have a motion to accept the check for Wardway Fuels. I'm not really sure what that was for. Justin, do you know or not?
I wasn't part of
I know.
the solicitation of that, Miss Angeline Crobway.
Okay.
You guys better.
When I called them to ask them to be afraid, they weren't comfortable putting lights on their cars. So they said they would give a donation.
Do you remember what the amount was?
They did not tell me what the amount was.
$250? So $250 by Wardway Fuel. Did they designate that everywhere, Mary? I mean, it's to what
Yeah, was
account
that
that was
donated?
going?
That's
Yeah,
Christmas parade.
great.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Meister. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Bolton,
Yay.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Meister,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Mr. Walters.
Yes. At this time, we're going to sort of go out of order. There's a reason why. If we get to where Jerry is going to give her report, we like to have a complete council here. As I said earlier, Mr. Burns is not here right now. In the event he's not here by the time we get through our reports, we may act on this after the executive session. That's not our preference, but we would like to have every council member involved in that vote. So at this point, we're going to move on to Ms. Bolton. If you would start with your report, please.
Yeah, we held a finance meeting on November 27th. Our fiscal officer reported and we went over the permanent appropriations. And, she presented those to you tonight. The village administrator also reported on a few items that we are looking at long-term. I don't want to panic anybody. One of them is a potential income tax and working with RETA, the Regional Income Tax Agency, to help give us information on how much that would produce, and all the rules and regulations that go along with that, and how that might actually be financially better for residents than the property tax. He also discussed the possibility of leveraging with Miami Township to form a JED, a joint economic district. The revenue may be shared with Miami Township. I think you have to have an income tax to do a JED, is that correct? Yes.
Correct, it gets back.
So there's advantages to looking at that option. Okay. He also reported that the water department is going to need to look at increase in rates. No late fees have been assessed in the water since COVID. And our rates have not increased in 9 years. Kevin, Mr. Burns talked about a CDBG grant that was granted. We were awarded $75,000 grant for the park. It has to be used for the park. Probably gonna build a shelter or make an improvement on the shelter. Mr. Havig talked about the local law enforcement, and you'll hear more about that later. It's what we are putting in place so that we can enforce our ordinance. When they dissolved Mayor's Court 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it did not allow us then to enforce any of our ordinances. We didn't have the mechanism to do that. So more will be discussed about that later. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office will still be the primary law enforcement agency, as the town marshal and any other detective would be focusing on zoning violations of our other ordinances. We also, Mr. Havig also brought up the police contract, which is currently $286,862 annually. Starting in 2025, the cost will decrease over the next 3 years based on subsidizing that's been approved by the county commissioners. However, once that subsidized goes away, our costs could substantially increase in 2028. So we get a little bit of a reprieve. Also, the fire levy was discussed. The new proposed contract from Miami Township, we believe to be unreasonable, as it's asking us to increase our rate by 61% without what we believe to be the proper justification for that kind of an increase. The village administrator is working with other communities as well that are also affected to see what we can do about negotiating with the township on that. More to come. Stormwater update, Mayor Burkholm spoke with Jennifer Batter about a contract to map out the back of Coleman Woods and to also write an EPA plan. This is all having to do with our stormwater plan. And JMA came in at a cost less, almost $2,000 less than what Joyce Warren charged us last year. So we are working with Jennifer Batter and our engineers on that in the future. The village administrator also asked us to consider setting aside a small amount for a Christmas party for the employees, which we did approve. So our employees will have a Christmas party this year. Mr. Burns expressed interest in working toward a capital grant. He stated this grant is only awarded every 2 years, so it needs to be worked on soon. And Mr. Burkholz said that there would be that there must be a recommendation from Hamilton County to apply for the capital grant and that people find out the process. That was it. I don't know if I stayed within my time frame.
You did good.
We can drink 2 minutes.
Yeah, just got 10 minutes left.
Terry was my extra minute.
Well, I just want to comment one thing that I want to talk about it at the mayor's report, but I want to let you know that the mapping has been already completed. I talked to Jennifer Batter today, so they've already mapped the entire back of Coleman Woods, which was the last part of the subdivision in the village that has to be put into our mapping. And you mentioned, for example, the contract with Choice One, just so the residents understand, there was a contract last year signed to build our plan, which would have included mapping, okay, and it would have included also a submission to the EPA. that was gonna have to be done by the village administrator or me. I sort of took over after Mr. Rahal left. And quite frankly, it's not an easy plan to write. Choice one never offered to do that. Jennifer Vader, GMA, did. And she said they'll have that completed by February, which will allow us to file our report with the EPA on April 1st. So we're moving in the right direction there. And then one other thing I'm gonna mention, if you've not been by the Morgan Creek, which is also part of our stormwater, that is being dug out currently, should be completed by tomorrow. And we'll give you more details in the future. But, you know, we're getting it done. And I think that's the most important thing. We are making progress, so, but we're getting it done. Any questions from the audience, finance committee, or